Okay, we're getting really close. You can see I got all the water pump connections bolted on. I don't like how this water pump, you don't do the top clamp, so it kind of just chills there when nothing's bolted to it, like the coolant hoses. But once they're kind of on, it kind of sticks it in place, kind of, sort of. But once again, you can see how that top bolt is not on because the bracket's removed. That's, of course, to make space for the big old turbo sitting here. So, to give everyone an update with the engine bracket and the, as you can see there, the engine mount, you have to remove the nut. Let's see, you can see it from up top, right there, to the engine mount on would be the driver's side or left-hand side, depending where in the world you're watching it from. We could see it removed there. As well as you have to get this engine higher from when you removed the factory bracket. We can see it there. The problem with my lift, it only got so high until it started to bottom out. So a little bit nerve-wracking, I guess, with mine being extra. Right between where the axle housing and the engine pan is, I put a block of wood and a jack stand, and then use a quick jacks to then lower the car onto it. This then, of course, pushes this engine up as the car continues to come down. I kind of slide my way underneath. So I put the factory bolts with the big washers as a shims, they call it, on the engine mount. This is as per the instructions. I did use a shorter bolt up here. This is a grade 8.8. Should probably be a 10.9, but I think it should be okay. There are still 3 other bolts holding it. A brand new engine mount, brand new E-Torx bolts. I forgot the torque specs, so make sure I put it on screen here. And then as well, I just have this placed for now because it is late night and I just want to give you guys a quick update. So I will lower the engine back down a bit and then kind of torque everything to spec once it's underneath some load, as well as don't forget the nut on the other passenger mount. After you got the engine bracket and the engine mount, I got a brand new one. You torque everything down to spec. I can let the engine rest back on where it's supposed to be. Basically, the mounts are no longer supported by a bar on the block of wood we saw here. I tighten everything down to spec. These are M12s by 42, and I'll put the spec here. I couldn't find it specifically to this, so I took the BMW literature, just referencing an M12 bolt. Then it was tight and hard to torque these down because of course you can't get a ratchet in there. However, I will drop the torque spec right here. And the kind of same thing goes for this little nut up top. Unless you have one of those HVAC like line wrenches that does torque, almost like an adjustable wrench. It's very hard to torque this one. I just use a regular wrench, which once again, but I'll drop torque spec here. But after that, everything is now tight. Everything doesn't move. If you use like a 10 mil 12 point, I have them on the swivel and the ratcheting. So these a little E12, I believe, actually really helped out really well. So now that this is all in, I will do this downpipe section a bit back up here like this, tighten the bolts down, and then once again, I shall do the downpipe. Okay, so for the downpipe, as we see, I already wrapped it, and probably already seen better days moving around and whatnot. Put another band around there. But anyways, so this is the V-band as I drop the bolt. So once this is kind of on there, kind of hard to do with one hand, but this part slides in the T-looking hammer thing. Go hold it back like that, and then do that hole. So, as you align that, you tighten that nut. This nut down. This one looks like a regular nut, and then this one's like a castle nut. So this castle nut's gonna kind of act like a jam nut. And once again, just a V-band. Up top, for your O2 sensors, I always like to tie a little string and then tie it off. Probably somewhere in the engine bay. Maybe around here or here, doesn't matter really. So that way you could access the cables before you tighten it all up, and then you can't be fishing your hands. So I'm gonna put another clamp around here, or stainless steel zip tie, as you see. And then once again, loosely fit the top downpipe, and then I'll put the rest of the exhaust back together, tighten this up, and then tighten up the bottom. So the exhaust clamp for the downpipe, the V-band, is officially fully tightened. So is the rest of the exhaust. And then the 2 bolts there, can replace them. I lost the original ones. But don't worry, this is not suits. Put some RTV. I didn't want to buy this clamp back. Already bought it twice. Once when I did the downpipe and once when I did the clutch. So I don't feel like spending another $40, $50. So I just put some RTV to kind of seal it a little bit. One thing to note is this downpipe fitment. I feel like with everything with this kit, it's not the greatest. This is definitely pushed way up and doesn't come down as much. So this flex pipe actually, hopefully you still have this, you know, I'm a custom exhaust yet, but definitely picks up a lot of slack. Because this kind of comes down like this angle, and this is like, you know, so you have to wrestle it a little bit and fit it in and then try to put the clamp. Remember, clock your clamps right, so you kind of don't have this bolt sticking out of the under tray. And then once again, make sure you have this clamp clocked as well, so it's easy to kind of tighten up from the bottom. So that concludes everything at the bottom and all the hot side stuff. So I'm going to put the wheel back on and lower the car, and I'll show you the cold side parts. So this is your factory turbo TIC, turbo to intercooler pipe, and then this is the one for the big boost that goes from the intercooler, of course, to the U-pipe would go up top there. So I just want to remind everyone to make sure to grab your clip. Also, I believe it's kind of dirty, not only from the car, but also has been moving around a lot. So make sure you take out that seal and put it into here, because of course then it won't seal. Then your factory clip from there also goes in here. So no idea where mine went. It's probably somewhere around. Regardless, I just want to give a special shout out so you guys do not forget to. So I got the gasket in there, and then the T-bolt clamp I put on the bottom so it could still tighten it from the bottom. I think this might be better to feed from the bottom. We shall see. And then yeah, so get it up through there, and then we wiggle that around. I believe it should be even about there. Once again, so just a little bit of more wiggling. That's hard to do with one hand. But once I get it kind of in there, I'm going to mount my intercooler first, connect the intercooler, and then we should just continue from there. Okay, now so we have the, I guess this turbo to intercooler pipe, or part of it. See the intercooler end. Got Evolution Raceworks, but I bought it used, as you know me, and they didn't include brackets, so I had to make my own. So now we're going to start with so now the U-pipe is going to go, of course, where the white cloth is in the turbo to here. So that's kind of easy. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. And then I'm actually going to start on the intake side. So here you have the 4 to 3 inch, 4 to 3.5, I think. I'll drop some images below for the instructions. And these are all just T-bolts I upgraded to kind of feed it down through where the turbo intake and everything's gonna go. And then this should seat all the way around. I'm using the T-bolt once again, so they are a little bit bigger, so sometimes it is a fight to kind of get it to seat, but this is what I'm going to do. And then we'll start on the next portion of the pipe. See that it's almost fully seated. Might need to loosen up the clamp a little bit more, but after that I should tighten it and then show you the next part. Next is the S-shaped pipe, S-ish, I guess. If you look at the photos of from Big Boost, it looks definitely kind of weird how to align it, but I believe, okay, you guys out of the light, I believe it's like this, because if you flip it around the other way, you kind of don't get as much like uppity action. So I did wrap this, as you could see. So I believe it goes like this. I won't tighten this bolt all the way down. You guys saw me in the previous shot, tighten the one to the turbo, because of course it's a circle, it's not going anywhere. So I'm trying to get that. I do have a good straight shot. You can see from my angle, probably not the best from yours. So I'll get this on there first, and then once again do the next coupler, and then I believe it's this piece. So then this piece goes, kind of angles up, and then that will go to your factory intake. So whether it's this one, but I'm putting back my old engine I had. Once again, shout out to Aqua B58 for doing a wonderful wrap job of this for the heat shielding. So I'll get that on there. Once again, T-bolt everything, and I believe I still use one of the straight couplers. Kind of. this is the one. As per the video with big boosts, I'll drop it on screen and the link below as well. They said put the 4-inch coupler on this S pipe because of course this is a circle, so it might be easier to maneuver. And then slip this on into the turbo. I did pull up the turbo to intercooler pipe as well as the this part of the thermostat, just to give me some more space and I don't feel like breaking that line. So it should be clear access right to the turbo. So I put some lithium grease. This thing is a lifesaver. It slips it on easy and then it also dries out so it doesn't leave stuff around where you don't want it to be. So I'll try to slip this down the hole. Can't forget the T-bolt clamp. This is the wrong size I have. There we go. And then try to feed it down. There we see it kind of meets it. So we'll fight with that, put that in, tighten this up, and then move on to the next portion. Okay, that dropped in relatively easy. I did go on the ground and verify that this was meeting the turbo kind of all the way. Slight concern because this coolant pipe you see is like right next to it, so I might have to play with it and clock with it a little bit. I know this is a flexible hose, so it should be okay. I just want too much of kink and restrict any coolant. But before I tighten that all down, I'm going to try to feed this back down between the gap. Might be tight, but I'll try that first and then tighten up that clamp and then to the next elbow. Okay, I put this turbo intercooler part back. I didn't tighten it down below. You see me just put it in, and I put the input formers for basically like stock intake back. Just kind of seeing the visualize where all this has to go and where this pipe should end. So now I see it's kind of sits flush with this kind of tab here from this angle, or you could say this lip here starts right in front of this bracket. So now that I'm going to take this back out and then continue this routing and probably tighten up the clamps, these clamps now. So now that we know where it's going to go, once again, leave that one because it's a circle, so that's easy, but I'll get the routing now. Okay, so now we have it all tightened down. The 1-2 clips there. We can see 3, 4. More like just the 3. This is loose for now because I just still want this to be able to rotate around so I can get the angle right. It still doesn't come up. The stock intake goes almost like this, so I feel like this might be bent up a little bit, but we shall see. However, I think that's good for this side because it doesn't matter because once again I'm installing the InGen. So through that gap we kind of see right there, we shall feed the turbo to intercooler tube, and then we can finally tighten this down. Can't tell you how many times I personally removed this already so far. So let me slip that down to underneath and I'll tighten it up. Here's the setup now. We have this pipe, or coupler I should say, will go onto the turbo, and then you have the infamous U-pipe. You can see one leg is longer than the other. Will jot down like this. It's gonna be interesting because I literally have this right in the way. But anyways, and then from there you should put this thing, this vent to atmosphere adapter flange. will fit like this. Everyone says they leak, they don't fit really well. I do have a TurboSmart one, but no spare gasket, so I shall see how I get on with that. I'm going to be replacing it soon afterwards for external blow-off valve. Funny enough, the flange just came today. So we shall see how we crack on, so I'll put that in right now. Okay, so we have the U-pipe in. I kind of cranked these. There's still a little gap there, which I don't like, but this is almost all the way tight. Maybe crank on it a little more. So now, yes, you see that this is kind of in the way, so that's hella unfortunate for me. However, with my flange, I might aim it to the back a little bit to try to get it off the way from that oil line. Kind of unfortunate, but just gonna give everyone an update. So let me tighten this down more, and then all that is you get to your TurboSmart. Once again, I have a brand new one. The last guy gave me this brand new in the kit, and then I shall drop it in there. And then once again, you extend your DV harness. Oh, that's not the one. I have it floating down here somewhere. I already did this, which is, it's crazy that he gives you such a long one when it just needs to go from here to there, but regardless. So I already did that earlier, just literally plug and play, and then you should connect to here, then I don't know, find a nice way to zip tie this. And that should be the kit right there. Another thing to note that the kit is not talking about, with the PCV system, normally you do have a, I guess, another side to it on the turbo inlet, but now with it being big boost is deleted. So you have to then use either a catch can, or in my case, I'm just going right to a filter, breather filter. So hopefully that works out. That should catch any excessive low by, and of course keep it inside and not filter out. Or once again, do a catch can, but you would have to modify your pipes for this. However, I already did that previously for a catch can video. So I don't. All I have to do, as you see here, is just I replaced the worm gear over here, and then I clipped it in. I did forget the worm gear, and then I just saw that. However, I'll just slip one over, tighten that up, and that should be good. And once again, we have this bolted in. Do need to find something cute and pretty, maybe run it up in a round or something, but I'll figure that one out. And there it is, everyone. So I have the breather here and the intake, my old engine from back in the day, back on. I will say this coupler, or whether the routing, is horrendous. It doesn't fit very well, as you can see. It's supposed to come up to here. So I don't know what's up with that. I might get a reducing 45 degree, or maybe just get a 6-inch coupler. So maybe that could bend around, give me another 1.5 inches there, 1.5 inches there. I don't know, I'm just gonna buy both and then figure it out. Luckily, it's just up here in the engine and not something crucial down below. So I will put the coolant tank back in there, and then I'll get to the bleeding process. So thank you everyone for helping me with this install.